There are many tricks to fasting that will make it a lot easier. Here's my top 5 tips. Number 5, stay busy. This is great to keep your mind off eating. I do this all the time. I think that work days are actually ideal days to fast. For example, what I do is I skip breakfast and I skip lunch. That gives me a period of time of 24 hours from dinner to dinner that I'm fasting. And I work right through. It doesn't even occur to me most of the time to be hungry. I don't think about food. I can barely remember if I ate lunch or I didn't eat lunch. And the best part is because I was able to work right through, I get to go home early. A lot of times people are actually bored rather than actually hungry. It's actually thinking about lunch, thinking about the food, going out, seeing the food, smelling the food that makes people hungry. So take yourself away from that. Tip number 4. Shh, don't tell anybody. This sounds very strange. Why wouldn't you tell people? Well, the truth is this. There's so many myths and misperceptions about fasting that there's lots of people who will try to discourage you. For example, I treated a lady who came into me for diabetes. She is overweight, she was on 200 units of insulin a day. So we worked with her diet and we encouraged her to fast, and she did great. We took her off of all of her insulin, her sugars were doing great, she lost 25 pounds, and she went to see her specialist. At first, her specialist was very happy, but then she told him she was fasting, and he screamed at her. He told her she was going to kill herself, despite the fact she was doing amazing. Clearly, he didn't understand about the power of fasting, and sometimes it's just better not to tell him. Just tell him you're on a diet. Unless you know they're going to be supportive, sometimes it's better to keep it to yourself. Tip number 3, give yourself a week. Like anything else, the first few times you fast, it will be difficult. You have to expect that and not get discouraged. There are very common problems that come up, and you don't know how to deal with that yet. Your body hasn't adapted to the fasting, you're not used to it, so lots of problems can come up. But don't get discouraged. Let yourself get used to it. Everything gets easier with time. Most people haven't fasted for more than 12 hours at a time. So the thought of doing 24, 36 hours, or even 7 days can be very daunting. There's several different strategies. Some people like to build up slowly. So they'll start with 12 hours, then 16 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours. Other people will jump right in and do 7 days without ever having done a short fast. That's fine. Both are fine. After all, some people like to jump right in the pool, and some people like to wait in slowly. Whatever works for you is great, but don't get discouraged. Stick with it. Tip number 2, don't binge. The best thing to do after a fast is just pretend like it never happened. Imagine to yourself that you've been eating this whole time. You have. You've been actually feeding yourself through your own fat. Because after all, fat is nothing else but food that's stored away for you to use when you have nothing to eat. So you can't use the fast as an excuse just to eat whatever you want afterwards. You should still stick to a nutritious meal, low in refined carbohydrates and high in natural fats, even after you finish fasting, in order to derive maximum benefits. And the most important tip is this. Choose a fasting schedule that best fits into your life. I once treated a man who would get together with his friends several times a week. They would meet, they would have lunch, they would talk, they would have a great time. When he started fasting, he started canceling all of these lunch meetings. That's not the point. The point is that fasting has infinite flexibility. You can always find a way to fit the fasting in around those times that you're going to eat and where you're going to want to eat. There are times to eat, weddings, celebrations, meeting with friends. But there are also times where you can fit in the fasting. That's just normal. Fit it into your life. If you follow these 5 simple tips, you should have no problems fasting. In fact, it could be a great experience. It could very literally save your life. I'm Dr. Jason Fung, and I wish you the best of luck.